if you don't have time and space to think and reflect, you are not even going to be able to highlight what the problems in your life are, what the source of your dissatisfaction with life is. Running away from and avoiding boredom is actually indirectly the cause of so many modern problems that people face. And it is also a roadblock to the solutions of said problems. So that is why it is very imperative that we are willing to accept boredom rather than run from it at all costs. So we're going to take a look at this from a few different angles. And the first one is going to be the link between an inability to sit with boredom and addictive tendencies. And of course, addictive tendencies are at the root of many issues that people face as well. And I'm not saying addictive tendencies like being a drug addict. I'm saying addictive tendencies like addiction to your phone, addiction to comfort, addiction to high stimulation at low cost or low effort. So the definition of boredom is to feel weary when one is unoccupied or uninterested in the task that they're doing. So if you're running away from boredom, by definition, you're always trying to make sure you are occupied or always trying to make sure you are highly stimulated in the activity that you're doing. And if you want to be occupied at any given time, you probably have a highly stimulating device in your pocket or within 10, 20 feet of you at most. You can go grab your phone or your laptop. And you probably also have a cupboard full of highly stimulating food. And when you run away from boredom, these are probably the primary two things that you go to. You go to highly stimulating food or highly stimulating electronic devices. According to some data from the website explodingtopics.com, people spend an average of 2 hours and 24 minutes a day on social media platforms alone, which is a lot of time. That is a lot of indication of the addictive tendencies that people have to their phones and to these social media platforms. Maybe you can relate to this. If you click this video, I'd be willing to bet that you can. We also know the more that you engage in highly stimulating activities that require little to no effort, the less likely you're going to be to engage in things that require a lot more effort. Because if you're always engaging in the stimulating things that require little to no effort, then why would you go ahead and spend energy and spend effort doing anything else? So the more you engage in these highly stimulating, low effort activities, the less likely you are to engage in activities that require a lot of effort. Now you can see where this is an issue. You can see where this is going to give you a lot of problems in your life. If you are not willing to engage in activities that require effort, you're not going to do things like exercise. That is a big problem that people face, is having poor health and being out of shape. You're not going to do things like learning skills that could potentially help you get out of your financial issues that you might be facing. Or maybe they can help you get out of some conflict that you're facing in relationships because you can learn to navigate and communicate. You're not going to be as likely to learn those skills. You're not going to be as likely to grow and develop a business. You're not going to be as likely to do any emotional heavy lifting that is involved in self-reflection and coming to learn about yourself and what it is that you really want out of life, and investigating potentially problem areas of our psyche that are causing issues in our lives. So if you can learn to be okay with boredom, if you can learn to be okay with not being highly stimulated, and we're going to get to how you can do that later, so be sure to watch the video till the end. If you can learn to not be dependent on this stimulation and learn to be okay with boredom, you can see where it's going to be beneficial here because your addictive tendencies are going to decrease while simultaneously increasing your ability to do meaningful work that is going to have an impact and have a contribution to solving the problem areas in your life. So for that first angle that we're approaching this from alone, that should be reason enough to understand that you need to learn to accept boredom and stop running away from it all the time. When you run away from boredom, you're just clinging on to stimulation. You're existentially dreading being alone with yourself. You have this fear of yourself, and it's getting in the way of solving many of your problems, because that's a big part of solving your problems, is being able to sit with yourself. And that brings us to the second angle that we're looking at this from, is that if you are okay with boredom, if you're okay with not being highly stimulated all the time, it's going to give you time and space to think and reflect. And this is extremely important. If you don't have time and space to think and reflect, you are not even going to be able to highlight what the problems in your life are, what the source of your dissatisfaction with life is. You need to be able to actually sit alone quietly and ponder these things. Maybe you want to journal them, maybe you want to write them down, but at the very least, you have to be able to think about them without having some external stimulation. And that's just step one, highlighting your problems. It's a big part of getting to the solution, but now you have to think about the solutions. You have to think about how you want to approach your solutions. And if you can do this, if you can sit without stimulation for any bit of an extended period of time, this is when your mind is going to be an open vessel. It's going to be open to receiving insight. And you're going to be able to think through things clearly with focus if you're not constantly running away from boredom and trying to grab at stimulation. And the more you do this, the more you're able to sit quietly without external stimulation and just think and reflect on your life, the more valuable your insights are going to become, the more you're going to come to understand yourself as an individual, and you'll get clear on who you are authentically. And that in and of itself can be used as a guide to life, understanding who you are authentically. If you want to know more on that topic and how to use your authenticity as a guide to life, see my video called Being Honest Will Save You So Much Suffering. I'll link it here and in the description down below. All right, now I spoke about how you're going to be able to get more focused. You're going to have more focused streams of thought and be open to insight. And when I'm talking about accepting boredom here and being willing to be bored, in this context, it is synonymous with meditation. When you practice meditation, when you're able to sit with yourself in silence on a cushion for 20 minutes at a time, you are going to learn to love boredom genuinely. When you learn to love boredom, when you practice meditation, when you practice being able to sit quietly and enjoy yourself without the presence of external stimulation, you're going to refine your mind. And you'll be able to focus more, you'll be able to learn more effectively, and you'll be able to do meaningful work more efficiently, which is also a big thing that's going to contribute to you solving your problems in life, whatever they may be. Now that's going to bring us to the third angle that we're looking at this from, how enjoying boredom and learning to accept and love boredom is going to solve your problems, is that you are going to become more mindful and more appreciative and more grateful for life in so many ways. And I have observed this myself. I've been practicing meditation for like 8 years now. And the mindfulness and the appreciation you get for life itself from your meditation practice is kind of like a superpower. You learn to be stimulated by the sound of the wind in the leaves and be awestruck and grateful for the sensation of sound and the ability to hear. And if you have had any type of meditation practice, you probably already know this. But I really just want to hit that point home that you're going to be much more mindful and much more grateful all over your life if you practice meditation, which goes hand in hand with what I'm saying here when I talk about learning to love boredom. In fact, when you do this, boredom goes away. When you sit in meditation, the actual sensation of being bored and being uneasy about the lack of stimulation that's going on, that actually starts to fade away. Because like I said, there's so much stimulation going on around you all the time, and you're going to begin to be mindful enough that you can fully take it in and recognize how magical life really is in general. And overall, that's just going to make you a more happy person. And guys, when we talk about problems in our life, I think at the root of any problem is that we just want to be happy. Right? Like any problem that we have, it's just something that's getting in the way of us being happy. And so this really gets right to the core of what we're trying to do when we problem solve. So that's how you're going to learn to love and accept boredom. And I say that in quotations because, as I mentioned, boredom starts to fade away as you practice meditation. And it's really just going to rewire your mind in a way where you're not constantly reaching for your phone in the presence of a lack of stimulation or a bag of chips when you have 5 minutes of downtime. So I hope you're now more aware of why you should learn to embrace a lack of stimulation and boredom, and how it's going to help you become more self-aware, how it's going to decrease any addictive tendencies that you have, and help you to get more meaningful work done. And if you can do all of those things, then you are going to solve a lot of your problems in life, whether you're financially struggling, whether you're struggling health-wise, whether you're struggling in relationships to people. All of those things are going to help you get to solutions. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Please be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. And one quick announcement before we go. If you wanted to work with me one-on-one, there is a booking link in the description down below for a free coaching call with me. So if that interests you, feel free to book a call. There's also a link for a great resource I made for you guys. It's a free life audit workbook. This is a great resource. I personally use it. So if that interests you, be sure to book a call and be sure to claim your life audit workbook. Once again, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.